Australia, an island continent, a country of superlatives. It's the sixth largest nation on Earth by land area, boasting the longest coastline in the world and covering more than 7.5 million square kilometers. At the bottom of the globe, it's bounded by three oceans, the Pacific, Indian, and Southern, and its outer edges reveal a land of breathtaking contrasts. Sun-washed beaches give way to plains and deserts, even snow-capped mountain ranges. Administratively divided into states and territories, Australia's major cities stand in striking contrast to the emptiness of the country's interior. In these vast outback regions, enormous engineering, maritime, and agricultural projects take shape, and far from any semblance of city life, there are mines, mighty engines of extraction, hauling minerals to every corner of the planet. This is Big Australia. Roughly 3,000 kilometres northwest of Sydney, in the remote Pilbara region of Western Australia, the terrain is dramatic, austere, and harsh, yet extraordinarily beautiful. It's also the centre of the country's iron ore boom, testament to the Pilbara's almost unimaginable geological bounty. If you want an area endowed with inestimable mineral wealth, this is it. And in the thick of the action is Atlas Iron, a company expanding operations at its Wodgina site, some 120 kilometres south of Port Hedland. Here, they're busy uncovering iron ore. Red gold, some call it. When you see iron ore, it's amazing, one manager says. It's just a rock, but it's precious, like discovering gold. People get ore fever. Digging here means drilling, blasting, crushing, and sorting. Trucks cart away mountains of ore. It's a major economic driver, feeding the local communities, Western Australia, and the nation as a whole. That dirt becomes cars and bridges, hospitals and phones. It's foundational to modern life. David Flanagan risked everything to start Atlas Iron. Just one geologist with an ambitious idea, he built a company now challenging the largest mining multinationals on Earth. At Atlas, we're operating 2 mine sites and commissioning 2 more, Mount Dove and Abydos, and a 5th is due by the end of next year, he says. Our market cap is near $1.7 or $1.8 billion. We might be a minnow in the iron ore world, swimming among sharks, but we're managing. Maybe we'll become large someday, but truly, we want to be a great Australian company, one driven by our values and forging steady growth. He reflects on the journey. We started up at Pardue at the depths of the global financial crisis in 2008. People said it was unsaleable dirt, that the trucking model wouldn't work, there was no port capacity or funding. Well, we proved them wrong. We shipped in 8 weeks post-environmental approval, a record, and from there we've kept pushing forward. Australia leads the globe in iron ore exports, tapping remote, red-earthed frontiers. This region, the Pilbara, lies hundreds of kilometres from the nearest big city, yet billions of dollars in ore flow from it to meet a global hunger, especially from fast industrializing nations. Look at the transformation in China, Flanagan explains. They're uplifting entire communities out of poverty, and we're contributing. Iron ore becomes steel, and steel is foundational to everything. Roads, buildings, factories. So yes, we're digging in the middle of nowhere, sending the ore across the world, helping build a better future. Atlas Iron is the new kid on the block in the Pilbara. David's vision, capitalizing on local geology and simpler infrastructure, trucking ore to port. They operate mines at Pardue, 75 kilometres from Port Hedland, and Wodgina, 120 kilometres away, aiming for 6 million tonnes of annual output. 3 new developments are underway, targeting 12 million tonnes. Their resource base spans over 1 billion tonnes, enough to dream of 46.5 million tonnes per year by 2017. Before any mining can proceed, workers must blast the ore body. Engineers and geologists pinpoint the ore's exact location. A specialized drill pattern is laid out, holes drilled, and explosives placed carefully. Wiring them up is delicate, requiring absolute precision. No second chances in this hazardous environment. One must know what they're doing with explosives, the shot firer remarks wryly. Workers endure punishing heat, often topping 45 degrees C or more. Dust storms, flies, even the occasional cyclone. They chug liters of water daily to stay hydrated. Safety is non-negotiable, one supervisor says. If someone falters here, the hospital isn't 2 minutes away. For many, Working 2 weeks on, 1 week off, or similar fly-in, fly-out rosters is normal. Their temporary home is a 600-person camp near the mine, catered dining, gym facilities, and camaraderie in the evenings. Then they head back to Perth for rest. Leanne, the truck driver, used to do marketing in the city. Now I drive a 160-ton haul truck. I wanted an adventure, a big change, and it's amazing, though you realize these machines are not your usual sedan. One false move could be catastrophic, so safety and skill come first. It's not all men anymore, she adds with a grin. Everything funnels to Port Hedland, a bustling town of some 20,000 people. Housing is scarce, prices sky high. But it's not just work. The annual Port Hedland Cup horse race is a highlight where everyone, miners in uniform by day, dresses up to socialize and celebrate. We've had 103 of these cups, an organizer says proudly. A real holiday up here, a day to forget about dust and shift work, at least until the next day. At the mine, once the drilling is done, explosives set, the area is cleared, the final checklist is completed, the countdown to a controlled blast begins, everyone waits, and then boom. Rock is loosened for trucks and diggers to handle. Immediately, workers move back in. It's a big sandbox with big Tonka toys, jokes an Atlas manager, but we treat it seriously. Safety is paramount. Day after day, hour after hour, the routine repeats. Crush, sort, haul. The iron-laden soil is carefully tested, separated by grade, then loaded onto road trains. A line of trucks rumbles down the Great Northern Highway to Port Hedland around the clock, delivering thousands of tons daily. It's not glamorous, but it's a grand undertaking, says one driver. We're rolling 24/7 so Asia can keep building. At the port, Atlas stockpiles the iron ore. Giant ships load up, bound for global markets, especially in Asia, where highways, railroads, skyscrapers, and entire cities sprout as steel demand surges. The Pilbara is ancient land. Millions of years ago, Aboriginal peoples roamed here. Miners today remain conscious of cultural sites, working with indigenous groups to protect their heritage. We're guests on someone else's land, states one environmental advisor. We do our utmost to preserve what we find. David Flanagan calls the Pilbara magical. It's beautiful, harsh but beautiful. I'm proud we at Atlas managed to combine industry with respect for the environment. Plus, we create good jobs, support local communities, help the state and nation, and yes, we help feed growth in Asia. He recounts Atlas's improbable journey. We started out exploring for gold, found iron ore by chance. People said the trucking model wouldn't work, that we'd never secure financing, especially in the global financial crisis. But we persevered, got that first mine going. It was unbelievably hard.